I have very fond memories of playing Crunch on Legacy and on Monolith. I love his kit. I love the idea behind it. I like how he breaks the mold of what a hero and what their ultimate and how their heroes can, or how their abilities can interact with each other. I love it. Love Crunch. However, I think we can actually change what Crunch is meant for. How so? Find out. Yeah, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Rework Idea. I am Sylphin, and a few things right off the bat. One, this in no way represents what Unleashed Games is going to do. This is simply just my idea along with the communities. Two, hero passives are coming back, so we have to think of a passive for each of these heroes. Three, I myself like the idea of a quest mechanic with heroes' kits. If you do something that accentuates what the hero is meant to do, then that ability, etc., gets empowered. Four, I believe that each hero needs a strong gameplay niche purpose within the hero roster. There has to be a reason for you to go, aha, I need this hero in this team comp against that team comp for these reasons, etc. That has to exist. There has to be a strong identity and purpose for why these heroes exist. So, for Crunch, let's go on a ride together, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a true rework. I am changing Crunch from a fighter to a melee ability carry. That's right. I am personally reworking Crunch to be a mobile melee ability carry. And why? Because I think that there's potential. He has the strongest potential to be a true ability carry out of anybody on the hero roster. And there's a few things that has to happen before he can be a successful ability carry. One, the biggest thing is probably, well, it's definitely his model. His hero model has to be much smaller than what it is. As you can see here, he's a big guy. He's bigger than Rampage. I actually think he's the biggest model out there, isn't he? He's actually, I think he's bigger than Richter, to be honest with you. He needs to be much smaller. Much, much smaller. He has to be slightly bigger than Murdoch, much smaller overall than what he was. So think of him as a bit bigger Murdoch. Basically as like a kind of an Iron Man that's a bit bigger than Murdoch. He's Iron Man, but with the model of Crunch. He's much smaller. Much, much smaller. Bigger than Serath, bigger than Yin, bigger than Murdoch a bit, but much smaller. Now, we have to change how he scales. He has to scale almost entirely from energy or ability damage stuff, whatever it's going to be. And obviously, attack speed is not going to do very much. You can maybe leave his attack speed scaling because it's not going to do much at the end of the day. Basic attacks will have to be, they will have to be balanced to be strong, but not the main, obviously the main source. It cannot, and basic attacks cannot be the main source of his damage. It has to be his abilities. So balancing that, reworking that, will have to work. Obviously, his health and armor scalings will have to go way down from what they were before to make him a carry. He has to be squishy, but deal a ton of damage. So, with that out of the way, how do we change his kit? And honestly, they actually haven't changed his kit that much. With those changes, he becomes an ability carry. Make him much smaller. His stats increase the damage on all his abilities. Make him scale back his health and armor scaling. Boom. I think you honestly get a great ability carry just by doing that. So, what's his passive? Well, it's slightly changed. Active ability cooldowns, so things, your abilities that are actually on cooldown, are reduced by 0.6, 0.9, whatever they have to be, whenever Crunch deals damage with a basic attack within 1 second of dealing damage with any of his abilities. So, you have to use an ability and then a basic attack to get the cooldown from it. I thought that the whole fighting nature of Crunch has to be brought in. It's not a whole bunch of abilities, but it's actually an ability with a basic attack into an ability into a basic attack into your empowered ability. It's your boxing, right? You use one and then the other. And I thought that we could go a step further than simply just 1, 2, 3 ability and done. And then 1, 2, 3 ability, 1, 2, 3 ability. No, ability, then basic attack, because you can then animation cancel, increasing that skill ceiling. How good are you at using a basic attack, using a ability and then animation canceling it with a basic attack? You can really up that execution potential quite significantly when you make this passive this way. I thought of making it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you use your ability or a basic attack first. It doesn't matter as long as you use an ability and a basic attack within each other of 1 second. But I actually think that you want to use your ability first, because you want to get to the empowered state as fast as possible, meaning you'll always pretty much want to use your ability first rather than your basic attack. So I made it this way. I think that it accentuates his niche, his style much more, and it at the same time making you have to be good at what he does and his gameplay niche, his style, and in executing well with him. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of that. Forward Crunch. It doesn't change much. Crunch launches forward about range to basic attack range, maybe less or something like that, I don't know. Dealing damage and stopping if you reach an enemy hero. If empowered, it's not going to push. It's not going to push. A, I don't think... yes, it was very nice to use it, but B, it was next to impossible to land. In the competitive scene, I never saw it used. I don't think I've ever seen it used successfully. I mean, I've done it a couple times, but it just wasn't really a thing. So I thought, what can be better than that? Well, if empowered, the cooldown is reduced by 50% upon use. So let's say you engage, you go right crunch, basic attack, left crunch, and then you're like, oh crap, I didn't see that another enemy was coming to help this person that I'm attacking. I gotta get out of here. Then boom, you use your forward crunch out, but the cooldown's reduced by 50% because you're using it to either engage or disengage, and you want to, you want to get some value out of that. So either it'll help you engage more or escape more, getting extra value and better value out of an empowered forward crunch than I think what it used to do. Left crunch. This was his big damage dealing ability, and I've continued that theme here. Crunch comes across with his left fist, cleaving damage. It's still a cleave, reducing all targets' ability armor by 5, 10, 15, 20% for 5 seconds. So, usually you started with your left crunch anyways because you wanted to go right crunch for the slow originally, and then the micro stun, to have the right crunch and then re-crunch so that you had your stun. Usually you started with your left crunch, I don't know, 75, 80, 90% of the time. So I put on the shred there, the ability armor, because you want that right crunch and then the empowered right crunch to deal more damage. Perfect. There you go. And that just synergizes with his damage dealing purpose. He's a melee ability carry, and just it synergizes with the rest of his kit. If empowered, deals 50% bonus damage or whatever it needs to do. If empowered, it deals bonus damage, so you can clear waves. If you have a ton of crowd control on your team and you don't need to use your empowered right crunch, then boom, you can deal more damage. Pardon me. That's his left crunch. Kind of the same. Right crunch. The micro stun seemed a lot. It was nice, but I think with now that he's an ability carry, he doesn't fulfill a as much of a utility role and as a bruiser. It doesn't really fill that role anymore, so you'll have somebody else that's meant to provide that control for you. So I thought instead of 2 stuns, it would be a slow and a stun. Crunch uses his right fist to deliver a weakening blow, damaging and slowing an enemy by an amount for a significant duration. 4 seconds is, I think, too long. 2.5 or 3 seconds, something like that. Who knows? It just slows them so that you can actually keep going on your target, and gives you a reason to maybe start with your right crunch first. If empowered, Crunch uppercuts his target, knocking up your target for an amount. It basically becomes his knock-up stun, which is obviously super powerful and enables him to really, really be nasty on the battlefield. Maybe that knock-up can be less because, again, he's a carry, not necessarily a control hero, but the knock-up is there for you to deal that damage. Right crunch, not changed too much. And his re-crunch, it's the same. It imitates the previous ability that you used. It unlocks your empowered state for your abilities. But here's the quest, and I put the quest on the recrunch. After his passive is used 30 times on enemy heroes, so after you've used an ability and then a basic attack on a hero 30 times, your abilities cast 15% faster, meaning you get attack speed for your abilities. Your abilities animations are sped up by 15%. That's really the only way to increase how fast Crunch deals his damage. Attack speed will only help you. You'll only get 50% value out of attack speed because you're animation canceling, right? So you know, half of a basic attack is previous the damage dealt, and 50% of it usually on a lot of heroes is 50%. So if you're reducing all of it, you only get half the value. Anyways, you're not going to want to put attack speed on Crunch anyways in this. So I thought that would be a good quest mechanic for his re-crunch. Your abilities cast 15% faster. It could be 20, 25% seems really good. I don't know. Your abilities cast faster. How sick is this, ladies and gentlemen? I would love to play Crunch like this. Love to play him as a melee ability carry, dealing tons of damage, getting in there. You're much smaller now. You can deal damage. You're forced to weave your basic attacks in there, your animation canceling, and it would be so much fun to do. I would love to see Crunch like this. Gives you another melee ability carry that's mobile. Definitely, I would put, if I was doing this, Crunch in the jungle myself. He does have the slow and the stun and your forward crunch for the solo lane, or the off lane. Maybe it would work there. I don't know if you're really confident, and it could work. Who knows? So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this. This is the truest. I think this is the biggest rework I've done yet of any of the heroes. Let me know. Do you even agree with the change in hero identity? Do you even agree with that? Because if you don't agree with that, then sorry. Everything else is just kind of, you can just forget everything else. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this Crunch rework. Please like the video if you like it, dislike, share the video, of course, guys. Subscribe if you guys like this content or want more. Let me know down in the comments. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.